AJ, you are on the air.
Oh, hi.
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 What can we help you with tonight?
I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
No worries.
It's okay. Take your time.
Yeah, well, what I want to discuss with you guys is, is a thing that I haven't actually vocalized to anyone outside of myself. So this is kind of the first, and I'm like panicking right now.
Deep breaths. It's okay.
I've heard everything, trust me.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I do this show. I work as a sex therapist. I also, have a background working at a suicide hotline and crisis prevention. And, I tell people I deal with sex and suicide all the time, so it's hard to make me blush. But I can't imagine the things that your ears have seen.
So, AJ, what's up?
Well, first I was wondering if it's okay if I maybe gave a little background so that my question kind of makes sense.
Yeah, hit us.
All right. So have you guys ever heard of the religion Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I grew up under that ideal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And from a very young age, I'm not gonna say that I knew that I was gay because I didn't really know what it meant. But it was kind of like smaller stuff where I'd be like, hey, that guy's cute. And then I would immediately, because they teach you this, at a young age, I would immediately kind of like shut the whole thought down. And, as I was younger, it was kind of easier to do that. And as I got older, towards puberty and then out of high school, it was a lot more difficult. So now I'm out. I'm an atheist. But, that's that portion of it's kind of besides the point. The thing is, because I was raised in that particular environment,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to shutting down I'm shutting down that side of myself. And while I have, accepted it on a surface level, and like when I'm in the company of my friends and stuff like that, then I'm fine. But it's the times when I'm alone or when I'm, sometimes I like to say, I catch myself thinking about the future, if I find a husband or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll catch myself thinking that. And, I'll shut it down and I'll immediately go into this whole self-loathing tirade in my brain about how God doesn't want that, knowing that, now I think that's all bullshit.
Right.
So I'm not sure exactly what to do with that, or if it's like something that I'm stuck with. And I'm wondering, I'm not sure how to cope because it's not many people that I can talk to around me, hence my reason for calling the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I would just start off by saying what you're describing, I think probably the better part, if not 90% of our audience has gone through, at some point in their lives. Really, anybody who is deconverted. And thoughts are weird. Brains are weird. You can tell your brain all day long that there is no God and that you're just being ridiculous. And, when you almost get hit on the freeway, say a little prayer. And that's just human nature because of the habits that you've developed, the things that you've reinforced over and over and over. Most forms of Christianity talk about, holding every thought captive, about, really policing your thoughts. And that is not something that you can easily train out of yourself. So everything you're experiencing is kind of par for the course, and it's pretty human, which isn't to say that it's fun or easy, but that there's nothing broken or strange about your experience. Now, that being said, what are some things that y'all have done or that you do in order to feel comfortable to cope with these things?
Yeah, I would have to say that, and I've said before, that when you leave religion, really one of the last things to leave you is that fear and shame. And
particularly around sexual issues.
Especially around sex and sexuality. And though you know consciously that there is no God and there is no punishment waiting for you, and there's nothing actually wrong with being gay or having those thoughts or having desires. It's still you have reinforced that thought process so much for so long that it gets its grip on you, and it really doesn't like to let go. One thing that I've done myself, because I have had to deal with a lot of shame and self-loathing myself, is a type of positive mental thought reinforcement. Is you can't stop yourself from having those thoughts, but what you can do is, when you recognize that you're having those thoughts, remind yourself, no, actually, okay, I've taken a moment, I've allowed myself to think this negative thing. Now I'm going to follow it up with a positive thing, and let that positive thought be the last thought that I have, rather than continuing to kind of focus on the negative. You keep following it up and build literally new pathways in your brain with new positive reinforcement.
Yeah, and people will even go so far as to like wear a rubber band on their wrist and to sort of snap it when they're trying to snap themselves out of those types of thoughts. And, whether we're talking about somebody who has struggled with an eating disorder or other forms of like fat shaming or body dysmorphia, gender dysmorphia, and these other just discomforts with ourselves and with our bodies, they're all going through something very similar to what you're describing. And so all of those same, cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy and all of these same types of treatments can be really helpful. And so while it sounds like you are, living your life and doing all right, if it becomes overwhelming, it is exactly the type of thing that you can be working with a therapist on, or that, there are different treatments and things that can be really helpful for.
And be kind to yourself. It is really, really
First and
hard
foremost.
to deal with self-loathing. I've done that, not so much in terms of my sexuality, but definitely in terms of my weight and my body image. And it's hard. It's really hard. And it's really hard to beat back the training that you've been given your whole life, either through religion or through your parents or through society. And there is nothing wrong with taking a second to step back and go, no, I am really okay with myself no matter what my first thought might be.
And
Yeah.
and remember that you have people here telling you you're okay, your thoughts are okay, and though I know we're very far away, just the reminder that, there are people reminding you that you are good and you are okay, and those thoughts that you are having are perfectly natural and normal, and damn it, you go for it.
Yeah, thanks.
I think it's worth remembering they do tend to fade over time. There are things that we're recommending, things that might help you cope, as you said, but, usually this type of stuff does eventually slough off and fall away, even if it can take, in a lot of cases, decades or even your whole life to get completely over. It does dull a lot over time.
It's nice to hear that. The other people are dealing with it, because like I read about that stuff. I watch like related videos about it, but like a lot of times it feels like it's just like a me thing. And it's great to know. It's great to know that it's not.
Yeah, you're really not alone. I mean, this show was founded on the back of Dr. Darrell Ray and the books that he had written, really about these subjects, really about sex and shame, and about how the God virus kind of infects our brain, and it's a difficult thing to get rid of. So it's a very human experience that you're having right now, and while it sucks, it's also okay. There's nothing broken or wrong about you.
And I think going back to the thing about Darrell's books and the God virus is it's not just the idea of God, it's everything that comes with the idea of God and all of the reinforcements that go along with it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Well, AJ, I hope, were we able to help at all?
Yeah, a lot. It's just good to like to talk to somebody else about it, you know.
Sure.
So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
course.
And good luck on your journey. You know, for a lot of us, it can be a long one, but it sounds like you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
you're
You too.
welcome.